Okay, so our objective today will be to learn about how to add fractions with unlike denominators. Unlike denominators. But before we start adding fractions, we're going to review a little bit about fractions and what you should have learned in fourth grade. Alright, so if I have 1/5 and I add 3/5 to that, do we know what the answer is?
Yes.
What would the answer be?
4/5.
4/5. Alright, so is this something complicated?
No.
No, it's pretty easy, right?
Yes.
And I think that everybody knows how to do that. Alright, now let's review a little bit about other things that you should know. If I have $1 and I divide it in 4 equal parts, right?
Yes.
How many cents will each part be?
25.
25 cents, right? So, 0.25. Right? What if I have, let me see if I have, oh yeah. What if I have 2 of these?
That'll be 50 cents.
How would I write these in fractions?
1/2.
Okay, so what if I have this and this?
1/4.
No, in fractions.
Oh, that.
So there will be 1/4 or 1/4 each, right?
Yes.
So this part is 1/4, right?
Yeah.
This part is 1/4. So 1/4 plus 1/4 is how much?
2/4.
2/4, right? So what about this part? How big is this part?
2/4.
2/4 or
2/4. 1/2.
1/2 of what?
$1.
1/2 of $1, right? So what I'm trying to see, we said 2/4, right?
Yes.
That this half is the same as this half, right?
Yes.
Right. But here we wrote 2/4, right?
Uh-huh.
And here we wrote 1/2, right?
Yes.
Are they the same?
Yes.
Yes. And how do we call when the fractions are the same but they look different?
Equivalent.
Equivalent fractions, right? So equivalent fractions. So this is going to be important for us to remember what equivalent fractions are. All right. Right? So equivalent fraction, they look different, but they have the same value, right? All right, let's put that aside. And we're going to do something like, all right, let's say that I have 3/4. 3/4, right?
Yes.
I'm going to write this as a fraction. What would it look like?
3/4.
3/4, right?
Yes.
3/4. And I am going to add
1/4.
2 more.
2/4.
2 more, right?
2/4. 2/4.
Which how much is of $1
50 cents.
in fraction?
2/4.
Which is half of $1, right?
Yes.
All right. So if I add 3/4 and 1/2, right? 3/4 and 1/2. What do you think my answer would be?
You can do it.
You can do it? All right. What do you think over there? What do you think the answer would be? Okay, well, let's ask somebody else.
No.
Okay. Any other? Okay, those are good answers. Can I do this? My answer is 4, 6.
No.
No.
No, you can't.
Yes, no, maybe.
No, you can't. You can't do it.
Turn around and talk to your neighbors to see if it's,
Cannot do that.
that's okay.
Because the denominator is bigger than the numerator, and the bottom one always stay the same. And it cannot be bigger than the top one.
But it has to stay the same if the both of the denominators are the same. But if they're different, you have to add them.
All right. Okay, I see a lot of discussions. What did you guys, Fernanda, talk about? Okay, what did you guys talk about, Dinas? You cannot add the denominator. Alright, so what about you?
We talked that you cannot add the denominator because if it's the denominator is bigger than the numerator, and that's impossible.
Okay, so you're telling me that we can never have a number bigger than this one. Okay.
We talked about that you cannot add the denominator because it always needs to stay the same. The numerator can change.
Okay, so I'm hearing some good answers. So let's go back to review our dollar. Okay, so let me go ahead and draw my dollar. Right? And remember we divided 1/2, right?
Yes.
And then 1/4 and 1/4, right? And it was the same thing, right?
Yes.
What if I divide this dollar and instead of 4 pieces or 1.5, I divide these in 3 equal
Pieces.
in thirds, right? In thirds. How many cents is each part? Who knows?
33.
33 cents, right? You agree with that, 33 cents?
Yes.
Yes. All right. So let's say that I have 2/3 of that. 2/3 of $1. How much money is that?
66.
66. All right. Now let's look what happened to our addition over here. If this is correct, right? We're gonna prove it. If it's incorrect, we're gonna prove it either way. All right. So 4, 6, and you remember from 4th grade that you need to simplify your fractions, right?
Yes.
Make them smaller, reduce them to the lowest term. So if we divide both of them by 2, guess what?
2/3.
We get 2/3.
Yes.
That will be my final answer because I cannot simplify it anymore, right? So if I add 3/4 plus $1/2, should I get that?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay, well let's think about it again one more time. In pennies, how much is this?
75.
75. In pennies, how much is that?
50.
Would that be the same as that?
No.
No, right? So something is wrong. So this proves everybody who says we cannot add them together, right? And somebody says, no, we need to have the same denominator. And that's correct. We cannot do this. This will not work, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you see here our answer was 66 cents, but you know that's impossible when you know that the answer has to be $1, right?
Yeah.
And how much? And
25
25 cents. So how come we did not get this, but we got that? Right? It's because we cannot do it that way. All right. So please write in your title. I think we need page 19.
Yes.
Okay, page 17. Your title will be adding fractions denominator. So that's your title. Please write your title. Adding fractions with unlike denominator. And we're going to write a subtitle. Alright? And we're going to put it on this side, and it's going to be finding the LCM / LCD. And we're going to talk about in a second what that means. You need to write it, please. So this is your title and this is your subtitle. Alright. So in order for us to have fractions with the same denominator, we need to find first something called the LCM or the LCD. Now, let me write this down. LCM stands for Least Common Multiple. Least common multiple. And the LCD stands for least common, who knows?
Denominator.
Denominator, perfect. Who said that? Thank you, good job. Denominator. All right. So this is the process that we're going to use in order to start adding our fractions. It is very simple. So let's go ahead and write our original fractions, right? So it's going to be 3/4 plus 1/2. Alright. So what we're trying to do is find fractions that have the same denominator, right? Alright, so it's something very easy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my denominators, 4 and 2. 4 and 2. And I'm going to write them over here. 4 and 2. Like that. If you would like to, you can put a line in between. Only if you like. Right? Now, let's look at our words here. What does least means?
Less.
The smaller, right? The smallest, right? The lowest. What does common means?
The same. The same.
Similar, the same, right? And what about multiple? What does that mean?
Twice. Like 2 more. More
The
than 1.
multiples of a number is like they're math facts.
Oh.
Alright? So what we need to find here, look here, find. We're going to find the least or the smallest common, the same multiple. They have in common. Alright. So what I did is I wrote them over here, right?
Yes.
Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to write their multiples or their math facts. So who can tell me the multiples of 4? 4 times 1 is?
4.
Times 2?
8.
3?
12. 16. 20.
Okay, I'm going to stop right there. Now, I'm going to leave the multiples of 2. Who can tell me the multiples of 2?
2. 4. 6. 8. 10. 12. 14.
Okay, I'm going to stop right there. Now, to find the common multiple. And I can see that some of the same numbers are on the top and the bottom, right?
Yes.
Those will be common multiples, like the 4 and the 4, the 8 and the 8, the 12 and the 12, right? But which one I'm looking for?
The least.
The smallest one, right? The least common denominator, the least,
Yes.
right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and find the least common multiple right here. The least common multiple is going to be 4. Guess what?
What?
The least common multiple is my new common denominator. That's my new common denominator. So now I am going to, instead of having two fractions with different denominators, I'm going to have two fractions with the same denominator. You see that? My new denominator now is 4. Was it hard to find it?
No.
No, it's easy. But what about our numerators?
They stay the same.
Can they stay the same?
Yeah.
No. No, they don't. The one have this. They don't have.
No, we need to find equivalent fractions for them.
The one have becomes so.
Equivalent fractions. Remember we talked about equivalent fractions that they look the same, but they look different, but they have the same value.
Yes.
3/4 is the same as 6/80.
No.
4th grade math, right?
Yes.
Okay, let me give you the example that we had in the morning. Before. 1/2 is the same as 2/4, right?
Yes.
You remember that?
Yes.
Okay. So let's look at our first fraction over here. I need to make it where it is the same, right? Now, you see that these two share the same denominator, right?
Yes.
So, should I find some other numerator?
No.
Or can I just use the same one? Use the same one, right? Because we did not have to change this fraction at all. And that's why you said. But remember, we have two, right? Now, this is the part that looks different. This is the one that we need to change, right?
Yes.
So for this, you see that the new denominator is 4, right? Now we need to find a equivalent fraction for that. Now, it's very simple. All we need to ask ourselves is, one number multiplied times 2 gives me 4.
2.
Well, that's times 2, right? So 2 times 2 is 4.
Yeah.
And what I do at the bottom, I do at the top. What I do at the top, I do at the bottom.
Yep.
So one number is 1 times 2.
2.
2, right? Now you see, now we have
5.
two fractions with the same denominator. Can we add them now?
Yes.
Yes. Because our new denominator, guess what? We just copy it, right?
Yes.
And how much is 3 plus 2?
5.
5. So the answer is
5.
5 1/4. Right? Now, it looks like a long process, but we're going to review it several times before we can get started with doing the addition.